My travels around Greece as part of this odyssey have taken me from the heart of the nation, Athens, and throughout several of the major island groups. We've cruised around the coast of the Peloponnese and travelled amongst the Ionian Islands. Then we made our way across to the northern Aegean before spending time exploring the hidden gems of the western Cycladic. And man, was it beautiful. This series sees us steering Mia Zoe further eastward and into the Dodecanese. In this episode, I'm finishing my visit to Ikaria and spending time meeting some of the locals. I want to understand why they live longer than they do elsewhere. Is it the food, the lifestyle, genetics? I just have to find out. I'm also headed to some of the most popular sites on the island, doing a bit of cooking with Kyriako and even trying my hand at surfing. But perhaps best of all, I'll be catching up with a close friend who was born here. This series is mostly about the Dodecanese, but I'm visiting a few islands that lie outside the group. Fourni, Ikaria and Samos are actually part of the northern Aegean, but they're so close geographically that it made sense to include them. To be honest, I couldn't help myself. These three islands are highlights in the region, and Ikaria was one place I was really keen to have a look at. There's so much history and great reading about it that both excited and intrigued me. At one point, we only had a couple of days planned for Ikaria, but that quickly turned into the best part of a week. There's just so much to see, do, taste and admire that you can spend a month or more on the island exploring, relaxing and embracing the lifestyle that makes the people here so long-lived. It seems the number one thing to do here is, well, to do very little of anything. On a day like this, when the sea is so flat, it's like yaourti, as the Greeks say, yogurt, you've got to explore the north coast of Ikaria because it's where the prevailing weather comes from and it's normally rough. And there's places like Karavotsa or Karavotsamon, I'll never get these names right. It's probably one of the most populated villages here in Ikaria. And it doesn't look like it, but it goes further into the gorge. But what's nice is that it's a beach, there's a port, you can have your boat here. It's just taverns everywhere. And there's villages like this all the way along the north coast. Not only do you have these absolutely wonderful beaches with the silky sand, but you've got these nice towns like Armenistis right next door. And it could be the French Riviera. You wouldn't know. Apart from the food and the language, and the food's probably a touch better. Language, well, they're all the same, aren't they? Some say that French is the most romantic tongue. Greek might not be so delicate, but its impact on the English language makes it possibly the most influential language on the planet. Most of us in the Western world say a word or two in Greek every day without ever knowing it. The whole of the north coast is punctuated by these deep gorges, these ravines that are created by the heavy weather that comes in winter and all the rain. You can see how green it is. But what's great is it creates these lovely sandy beaches with this beautiful aqua water. Kalimera! Yes, and you can see that there are people along these beaches. There's tons of beaches along here. It's so dramatic. Generally in life, whether it's work or play, I'm surrounded by people. I love socialising and sharing life's adventures. But there are times when I also like to be alone. It gives me a chance to reflect, relax, and take in my surrounds, free from distraction. It's a similar feeling to what I get when I'm doing my morning yoga. It's a form of mindfulness that helps me appreciate all the wonderful things the world has to offer. I find one of the best ways to attain a sense of peace and focus is to go on a long walk. It's easy to get lost in the moment and become totally engrossed in the surrounds. You quickly forget the daily stresses and get some clarity in your mind. The location I was headed to can actually be accessed on a drive from town, but arriving by sea seemed like a whole lot more fun, and the views were pretty awesome too. In the distance, we see Samos, Fourni. This was a major shipping lane in antiquity, and in the Hellenistic time, 4th century BC, they built this magnificent tower of Draconon. and the whole settlement around it just to watch this shipping lane. Let's go and have a look. When most people gaze upon this town, they would probably see just another decaying relic. But when you look a little deeper, you discover it has so much to offer. I see intricate architecture, precision engineering, and thousands of man-hours in construction. I see an ancient beacon that for centuries has stood as a sentinel looking across the Mediterranean. Now, if you walk in from the east side, the side facing the sea, you'll notice that it's not as well preserved as the west side. And that's because it faces the sea and it was used for target practice in the 19th century. Thankfully, they weren't the best shots. Wow, everything about this tower just amazes me. I love the engineering. Just this block here, it's about 4 tonnes. And it's not locally quarried, it's come from over the road at Furni. It's that beautiful white seamless marble. Just look at this circle, it's perfect. 6.8 metre diameter. And the surveying quality, the management, the amount of people to build this thing, it's just amazing. I love it. And it's about 12, 13, 14 metres high, I don't know. You can see those holes up there. They would have held the gluts, the joists that held each level. There's 3 levels here, so they watched from 3 levels. It's amazing, I love it. I love it. Can you tell I love building? Oh man, it's beautiful. This is as much a work of art as an achievement of engineering. They could have built something simpler and less costly, but there was a lot of thought behind Drakonon. It was a symbol of security. It gave the people both pride in their town and confidence they would be safe from invaders. That self-assurance helped unshackle their minds from fear, which empowered them to live freely. It's in environments like that where people can achieve so much more. There's no better way to understand a people and their culture than by seeing it through the eyes of a local. A close friend of mine, Michael, who was a schoolmate of my sister's, was born in Ikaria and left during civil unrest in the 1970s. I timed my trip here to coincide with his annual pilgrimage to Ikaria. So, Michael, 52 villages, this is pretty typical. Daphne, this is your village. How many people live here?
In winter, probably about 50. In summer, probably about 300.
And when you left, how many were there here?
Oh, there were a lot more people. Constantly, 150 maybe, constant. But in summer, again, 250, 300.
Wow, things have changed.
Things have changed. People have moved on.
Technology and advances in farming techniques have forever changed life on islands like Ikaria. The mountainous terrain doesn't lend itself to modern agricultural methods. As a consequence, people moved away to the less labour-intensive plains of the mainland, or simply found new occupations in the larger settlements.
Yes, this used to be a storage area for the grain of the local village.
Oh, yeah.
And, but now there's not as much agriculture.
Yeah?
So it is not used anymore.
Right. Nice flower, mate. Beautiful smell.
Well, Peter, this is one of a number of springs. In the old days, when I say old days, the 60s, this is where people came to get their drinking water with buckets or whatever, you know. And it's clean, it's fresh. And it wasn't until the 70s we got pipes taking the water to the house.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to try your Icarian tea. Everybody raves about the Icarian tea.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go to the cafeteria.
Over the years, I've heard a lot about the teas of Ikaria. So naturally, while here, I just had to try them for myself and learn why they are different from those on other islands. One thing I was already aware of is that they don't just have the simple sage or chamomile tea that you'll find everywhere else. Some folks here have a dozen or more different local herbs that they mix to form a concoction.
Have a look at this bit.
Wow. They drink it religiously, and amongst a myriad of idiosyncrasies, it's one of the things that contributes to why they live so long. Knowing that, I've placed an order for 20 kilos of the stuff, regardless of how it tastes. So this is Fliskuni, and that's Saituvunu.
Saituvunu,
Mountain tea and like a mint.
Like a mountain mint.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot and see what it's like. Tell me, you come back to Ikaria every year?
Now I try and do it every year.
Yeah.
rejuvenates me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You wouldn't think I was 85 years old, would you?
Steady out, man. Awesome, awesome. Great day, mate. Really appreciate it. I enjoyed being here in a real village, in a real authentic village. I think place hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't changed.
Hasn't changed.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
That's why I come here.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's the one constant in life.
Let's hope you live a long time like most Icarians do, mate. See ya.
I hope so.
Oh, awesome. While sitting here enjoying my tea, a series of events unfolded in front of me that went part the way to explaining why these people have such longevity. To begin with, an excavator was making its way through town. It held up traffic for 15 minutes, causing lots of noise and no doubt making people late. But no one cared. I was the only one stressing out about it. Others sat patiently in their cars or kept sipping their drinks, oblivious to what was happening. You see, to Icarians, an appointment is more an estimate of when they think they'll arrive, rather than being a set time for a meeting. They're outliers in a world where punctuality and the stress it causes don't exist. They're also happy to take their time, enjoying their drinks, playing games and watching the world go by. It's a lifestyle at the opposite end of the spectrum to my self-inflicted schedule. Εσείς πότε γεννηθήκατε?
Εγώ είμαι 84.
84 και εσείς 86. Εδώ είσαστε μωρά στο Ικαρία, έτσι. Baby, Τι έχει η Ικαρία που δεν έχουν τα άλλα νησιά?
Φαίνεται ο κόσμος εδώ, εντάξει, δουλεύει, αλλά δεν έχει άγχος να τρέχει. Άντε να κάνει
No stress. No stress. No stress. Here in Aio Dimitrios, wherever we went and chatted to locals, we discovered they were in their late 70s and 80s. But we knew there were plenty of much older people living here too. However, after many years of having film crews visit and interview townsfolk, a superstition has arisen amongst them. You see, shortly after production crews left, there seemed to be a trend that one of those who had been filmed passed away. So when they heard we were coming, the most elderly of locals decided to stay indoors. Μα είσαι νέα, πρέπει να είσαι 50-55 τώρα εσύ.
Και 75.
Ναι, σοβαρά. It's an Icarian baby, 75.
Δεν έβγαλα δόντια ακόμα.
Ακόμα, That's how you can tell. The Icarian babies have still got teeth. Yeah. All their teeth. George's niece later told me that, in fact, she was a lot older than mentioned. But out of respect, I can't tell you. Later, I was lucky enough to meet a couple in their early 90s, Spiro and Anna. They met in Athens 60 years ago and lived in the US for 16 years. They moved back to Ikaria and have remained here ever since. Despite their age, they're still full of life. What is it about Ikaria that people live a long time? What is it? You guys look sharp. You don't only live a long time, but in your 90s...
Να μην σε νοιάζει τίποτα, να σε...
Don't worry about anything.
Ούτε ρολόι να φοράς, ούτε...
But you're wearing a watch.
I'm American.
Yeah, he's wearing a watch.
Εγώ είμαι νευρικός, εγώ...
Yeah, he's a nervy guy. He's not a Icarian. He's not...
Εγώ δεν μοιάζω.
Μου λέγε Σπύρο, the Icarian walks and before he goes to the next step, what happens? He thinks about it first.
Ο Καριώτης είναι αργόστροφος.
Αργόστροφος.
Εδώ δεν θα βρει συνεργείο να μην ανοίγει 11 η ώρα, 12 η ώρα το μεσημέρι. Τα συνεργεία.
Nothing opens before 12 o'clock. Τίποτα.
Supermarkets, 10 o'clock. Is that...
Supermarket opens 10 o'clock in the morning. Wow. What's the advice that you can give us from an Icarian saying, you know, to the younger people out there, what should they do in life? What is the best bit of advice you can give us?
Keep smiling. Be happy.
So you're...
Love people.
Love people, keep smiling, be happy.
The main thing.
That's the main thing, eh?
Smile, love people.
Yeah.
I love everybody. I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that.
I love people.
Smile, love people, and be happy. Great advice. I like to think I'm already embracing that a little. I also noticed a trend starting to emerge. Many of the people on Ikaria grow their own food, which keeps them both mentally and physically active. It's not easy work. Spiro's garden is totally organic too, so his fruit and vegetables are probably much healthier than the store-bought produce. Oh, can't lose that one. That was a beauty. That was a beauty. What are you doing up there? What are you doing up there? Careful. Careful, me passes there. It's a massive garden, all in perfect order. To think, a 92-year-old does all this work every day. It's incredible. He actually ends up giving most of it away, as he and Anna can't eat it all.
That's awesome. Eggplant, wow.
I think one of Spiro's secrets to longevity is his daily routine. He's up before dawn, and with just a cup of coffee or tea in his stomach, he heads to his little farm. He's home by midday for lunch with Anna and a catch-up on the news, before an afternoon nap. He then spends his evenings with close friends and a very light meal. But perhaps most importantly, Spiro is always smiling and turns a negative into a positive.
I'm leaving and Spiro's still working away in there. You know, the last 24 hours have been really special for me with Spiro and Anna. They've taught me so much about life. And when I leave an island, those last couple of days, especially a remote island like Ikaria, I treat them as if it's the last time I'll ever come. And I feel like it might be the last time I ever see Spiro and Anna again. But I think they're going to outlive me, and there's a good chance I'll see them again, and I look forward to coming back to this island. It's awesome. It's been great.
I'm here in Mesachtir Beach, and I can't believe it. There's waves. There's waves in Greece. Not only that, there's a surf school. There's a surf school here. I better go and try it out. You'll probably never see the names Dimitris or Vasilis carved on World Surfing Championship trophies, but it's pretty cool to see people on boards in this part of the world. It reminded me a little of home. Izzy, Greece, surfing. I can't believe it. There's people surfing here. What's the story? What's going on?
Nobody could believe that there is surfing in Greece, but actually Greece and other countries of Mediterranean have some really decent surfing. They're like ideal for beginner surfing, and sometimes we have the conditions to have some really decent surfing.
And what got you into surfing? What made you, I'm in Ikaria, surfing, you're Icarian, right?
Yeah, I'm from here, yeah.
What got you into surfing?
You know, that was really important because I was from a place that I was coming for vacation during the summer, but during the summer we have like, Ikaria is really consistent for waves, so I had the chance to do it. But as they say, like, only a surfer knows the feeling. After I caught my first wave, I was really into it.
And that's it, that's it, you're a surfer for life now?
Yeah.
And you're teaching it?
Yeah, actually, like, I was studying construction of musical instruments, that I was really loving it, but then I decided, I was so into surfing that I decided to leave it and start. I went and then took a surf instructor license, and I started teaching and founded the surf school here in Ikaria.
So your life now is surfing in Ikaria, right?
It's all about surfing. Yeah, I work for 5 months during summer, giving surf lessons here, and even during winter, I'm organizing groups going to other islands of Greece or some places abroad like Morocco, Bali and stuff. I'm grabbing groups from Greece and we're going over there.
So you know, Izzy, I'm a bit embarrassed because I'm an Australian from Bondi. I learned to swim there and it's one of the best surfing beaches in the world, and I don't know how to surf. So you're going to teach me?
For sure I'm going to teach.
How do you think I'll go? Will I go okay?
It's going to be a piece of cake. If you're a really good swimmer, it's going to be super easy.
But isn't it a bit ironic that someone from Australia's learning to surf in Greece?
Actually, you're not the first one that I'm going to teach. The first guy from Australia. There are a lot of guys from Australia coming here and I'm teaching them. Like some of them, they're Greek Australians or Icarian Australians, so they have the chance to surf for the first time in their birthplace. So, and they're feeling really lucky and really happy.
Well, this is awesome. You know what? I'm going to learn to surf here, go back to Australia like I've been surfing all my life. Let's go, let's go, let's go, man. Learning to surf, like a lot of things in life, takes persistence, and I wasn't going to stop trying until I actually caught a wave. It felt like I was there the entire day, constantly falling off. All the while, people were on the beach, relaxing, drinking cocktails and playing volleyball. But then it happened. I surfed a wave, and boy was I elated. After that, I managed to get a few more, and before I knew it, I was hooked. You get a rush of adrenaline as the energy of the wave carries you forward. It's an unreal sensation, and it's easy to see why surfing is so addictive. I left the beach buzzing with energy. So far it's been a fantastic day, full of laughs, new friends and experiences. I came away feeling rejuvenated. Maybe the seawater has a little to do with the Icarian longevity too. I finished my afternoon with a road trip to see a few more of the sights. To absorb Ikaria to the fullest, I suggest you hire a car. That way you can explore the lush green and mountainous landscape at your own pace. You'll discover the interior of the island is just as pretty as the coast.
This island has a number of different microclimates. Only 15 minutes ago, we're down on the beach, 30 degrees, water was aqua blue. We come up into the mountains of Rakes. Here and there's a couple of little dams that were built by the exiles in cooperation with the locals in the 50s. And it's beautiful. Temperature's probably 10 to 15 degrees lower. No humidity whatsoever. But there's a hint of sulphur in the air, and I think that might be volcanic. I'm not too sure, but definitely there are thermal springs on the other side of the island. But don't drink the water here because you might get a bit of that sulphur. Although the water's piped down to the houses. That might be why they're living so long, a bit of sulphur in the water. Who knows? But it's awesome up here. Have a look at it. Have a look. It might be New Zealand, it could be Canada, who knows?
Many people don't realise that this was once an island of exile. During the Greek Civil War, approximately 13,000 leftist supporters and politicians were exiled here. There was a fear communism would rise and strengthen Stalin's position in Greece. It led to Ikaria being called the Red Rock. Amongst the many people sent here were poets, artists, academics and musicians. They no doubt influenced the culture of the island, and some loved their time here so much they never left. To tell you the truth, a drive around the place only strengthened my opinion that this was one of the best islands I've been to. There's so much going for it. I'm particularly fond of the long life, but maybe I've left it a little bit too late to reap the rewards of living here.
Now these Icarians, they're a tough bunch of people. Special DNA, something I don't have. The last week, I've walked halfway across the island. My legs are sore. I learned how to surf. My back's sore. I dived in Furni. My ears blocked. I'm feeling hammered. Anyway, I'm down here in Therma, the thermal springs. Therapeutic water. It's radioactive, but who cares? It's radon. 3.8 day life. Who cares? Or half life. We're going to jump in here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The amount of radon in the water here is very minimal, but the idea of it still raises a few concerns. In some parts of the world, this is actually used as an expensive medicinal spa treatment. Research suggests that the water has an anti-inflammatory effect, which is no doubt good for my aching muscles and bones. They also say that in high enough concentrations, it can work like a painkiller, in a similar manner to morphine. Whatever the science, bathing in these waters is really relaxing and soothes both the body and mind. Another thing I find good for the soul is spending quality time with my son Irenaeus. We both love the company of Helen, but back in Australia we devote Friday afternoons and evenings to father and son time. Just the boys. Sometimes we talk about meaningless stuff, other times we argue, and there are occasions where we just sit and don't say a word. And to be honest, I don't care what we do. I just love being with him.
Τι θα κάνουμε σήμερα?
Θα κάνουμε χόρτα με κεφτέδες.
Awesome, awesome. We're doing horta and keftedes. Keftedes are Greek meatballs, and horta. We've actually got the horta from Spiro's yard, so these are as organic as you can get. Now, horta are wild greens or field greens. In actual fact, they're weeds. But anyway,
We're going to do those last. Θα τα κάνουμε τελευταία, because they're really, really quick. And they're the healthy part of what we're going to eat today. Very, very important. This is why Icarians live forever. So, τι θα κάνουμε με τα κυφτέδες?
Όπως πάντα, εύκολα.
We have the muncher, the food processor.
Θα ρίξουμε όλα τα υγρά.
Olive oil. Ένα ποτήρι, 1 cup.
200 ml.
200 mils, whatever it is. Τι έχουμε εκεί?
Ξύδι.
Ξύδι. Wow, vinegar. We're putting vinegar in. Wow,
Yes.
I didn't know that. Vinegar. We've got 4 cloves of garlic. Beautiful.
Yes.
Scordo. A handful of parsley. Mint. So we could stick some mint in. A handful of mint. Tomata.
Ναι, το κάνει πιο
Fresh
αφράτο.
tomato, yeah. But my mother used to use tomato sauce, ketchup. This is very controversial, right? It sweetens it up. That's what I use. Kyriako uses the tomato, but that's okay. My preference is tomato.
Αυγό.
You're going to keep going, sorry. We've got 4 eggs as well.
Yes.
We've got to
Χτυπάμε
keep
πρώτα
moving.
αυτά λίγο.
And then we blend these babies. Awesome. It looks good. It's amazing that the blender does all the work. And then we put some onions in as well.
Yeah.
He puts the onions in last because he wants the onions to be...
Ακριβώς, δεν θέλουμε να γίνει πουρές.
We don't want the onion to become puree. We don't want it to become mashed. Go. Awesome. Now, my mother would have chopped the onions, right? He's doing it the easy way, right?
Πολύ σωστά και
And what have we got? We got a... Ooh, we throw that in there.
όλα.
Όλα μέσα. All inside. Ooh, gee,
Βλέπετε,
wow.
έχει το κομματάκι, είναι σαν να είναι
Can you show us that again? Show me. So you see, you can see the little bit of onion bits. That's really important. So you're actually tasting the onion and the meatballs. Awesome. We actually have a secret, controversial ingredient that my mother never used, but for some reason Kyriako uses it, and I like his kiftedes, I like his meatballs, so I'm going to let it happen now, even though my mother will be saying up there, what the hell are you doing? No, we can't say that, sorry. Okay, so, δεν το πάμε τώρα.
Ούτε ο καπετάνιος το χρησιμοποιεί.
The captain, we had major controversy earlier. The captain's saying, no, you can't put mustard in, but he's putting mustard in. Just 1 spoon of mustard.
Τέλος.
I think it's blasphemy, but anyway, it's okay. Mum, it's okay. All right, what's next? Then we've got...
Όλο. Αυτό συνήθως είναι το 40%. Οπότε είναι...
40% of the minced meat, volume in bread.
Έτσι, βρεγμένο ψωμάκι, το παγιάτικο.
Oh yes, so it's soaked bread.
Οι γυναίκες παλιά, όταν είχαν παγιάτικο ψωμί, φτιάχναν κεφτέδες. Δηλαδή για να μην το πετάξουν.
That's right. I love that. I just absolutely love that. The mystery to doing this well is to make sure that you mix it through well so that the breadcrumb gets into the minced meat. So it's one wonderful little solution. And it just looks like fun. I wish I could be in there with you, but I can't. It only fits one hand, doesn't it? Oh, I'm going to help him later when we make the meatballs. I'm looking forward to that. Because I used to make them with my mother. I used to sit there because I love meatballs. The aromas. You can smell the onion, the parsley, and the mint. Yeah, okay, right. I've got it wrong, but no problems. You keep going, come on. Look at it, look at it. Oh!
Θέλει...
We sprinkle a bit of flour on. Now this is gluten-free flour. Makes it crispy. All right, what do I do? Okay.
Μικρά, όχι πολύ μεγάλα.
We're making small meatballs and just throw them in there, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Κανονικά το φτιάχνει ένα χέρι, γιατί αν φτιάχνει ο ένας μικρά, ο άλλος μεγάλα.
Hey, I get the hint. Okay, I get the hint. Okay.
Ναι.
He's saying by rights it should be one person making it because we're going to get awkward sizes. He's right. I'll let him do it. That way we're going to get uniform meatballs. Those big ones are mine. So what? Wow. Let's put this to the side. What?
Traditionally, you'd fry the keftedes in olive oil, which is how my mother would have done it. But in today's health-conscious world, you can also grill them in a flattened meat patty fashion. We had a few guests on the boat that were the fit and healthy type, so a batch of the keftedes were prepared in the reduced calorie way.
The water's got to boil, obviously, and then that only needs like a minute or two in there, you know? But the nutrients that are in the horta, in the wild field greens, is awesome.
There are several field greens freshly available in Greece: chicory, endives, and golden thistle amongst others. They only need a minute or so in boiling water, plus a light dressing of olive oil, lemon juice and salt.
They're fully drained. There's no water in them whatsoever. Okay, fantastic. So getting the lemon on there just to soak them. And then a bit of olive oil.
These are my favourite though. Pretty much you see. Oh. Πάει πυρονί.
Μας έφερε ωραία πράγματα.
So good. I can't leave that on its own. Ωραία. Χόρτα εγκεφτέδες. Awesome.
Χωρίς πατάτες τσιγαντές δεν είναι τίποτα.
Well, we'll do the chips when the camera turns off, okay?
Yes.
Simple but delicious, and always a favourite in the Manius household.
The world has had cars and the road networks that connect them for well over a century. But here in Ikaria, the north to the south of the island has only been connected in the last couple of decades by road and tunnel. And as a result of building that tunnel, there was a bit of a collapse on the south side that created this absolutely magnificent beach they call Seychelles. It's considered one of the most exotic beaches in the Aegean. Just check it out. It's absolutely magnificent. The greens, the blues, there's every colour. And before I head further down the east coast, I think I might jump in for a swim.
There's only two ways in, and neither are that easy. You can get a boat across, which might involve asking around a bit, as there's no scheduled service. Or you drive to the top and make the treacherous descent. Either way, it's worth the effort. The water is stunning, and while the inspiration for the beach's name is kind of cool, I think it deserves its own identity. Maybe we should run a competition to rename the place. The lack of a beach bar or deck chairs are what makes this such a great little spot. However, there's a guy that comes across in a rowboat, laden with coolers full of drinks and other refreshments. He sits here all day and services the handful of people that make the journey. It's very simple and unobtrusive, but works a treat. At the end of the day, he packs up his mobile shop and leaves the beach unscathed, free of any impact or commercialisation. Talk about the perfect place to escape and relax for a while. But I'm not one to sit still too long, and there was more exploring to be done.
Heading east from Seychelles, the whole coast, the whole south coast, is lined with caves. It's lined with every time you pass a bit of mountain, there's a massive gorge, and there's beaches all the way along that are being formed as we speak. And they're awesome little beaches that you can only get to by a boat, or you hike down the gorges. We're going to check some out. Have a look at this, awesome. I love what time and geology does. It creates these beautiful gorges that create the wonderful beaches that we see here. And they're going to get bigger and bigger as time goes by, and there's more being created all the way along the south coast and the north coast of Ikaria. Absolutely magnificent. Private beaches, you can get to them by hiking, or you can get to them by kayaking. A fishing boat can take you. It's awesome. Your own private beach. It's like these people behind us. Thank you, Yanni. Opa. Oh, man. The things I do for this show. Oh, man. Oh, man, this is not easy. Here we are, south of the island in the Icarian Sea, sitting on this rock in the middle of nowhere. But it's very significant because there is a saying, don't fly too close to the sun, and it originates right here. It's an idiom that comes from popular mythology when Icarus's father, who was jailed with his son in Crete, wanted to get out somehow,
What did he do? He built wings with feathers and wax. He said to his son Icarus, Icarus, whatever you do, don't fly too close to the sun because your wings will fall off because the wax will melt. What did he do? He flew too close to the sun. He fell on this rock. That's why this place is called the Icarian Sea, and that island is Ικαρία.
Many of the stories from mythology are the basis for the morals we live by today. In this instance, it's all about the cockiness and ego of youth. Icarus crossed the fine line between confidence and arrogance. The moral of the story here is, don't be overconfident. I've seen people step over that line many times, me included. And it only leads to one outcome. Everything falls apart. On the surface, the people of Ikaria live like almost every other Greek on the islands. But peel back the cover and look deeper into the fabric of this community, and a number of traits become clear. When they're combined in the right way, the Icarian way, it creates an idyllic existence. They don't worry about time and stress over things. They're generally positive people who care for one another. They eat well from crops grown in their own backyards, and they keep active, walking to most places. But these are the behaviours of the older people. The current generation have been spoiled by modern society's ways. So in time, the face of Ikaria will change, and you'll no longer find this abundance of the elderly. However, one thing that will remain is the remarkable scenery. That's not going anywhere. Our next destination has some wonderful memories for Helen and I. We've been to Samos on 4 different occasions, and we never grow tired of it. There's just so much on offer. But before arriving, there was one stop we had to make at the tiny islet of Samiopoula. It's only a kilometre from its big brother Samos, yet in all my visits to the area, I'd never been. Like I said, there's so much to do on Samos that I'd never found the time to head over. But as part of my mission to set foot on all inhabited Greek islands, we had to make the effort. Plus, I was more than a little intrigued by some of the research we did about the island.
Thanks, Captain. We're here on the island of Samiopoula. It's just a stone's throw from Samos. 2 kilometres long, 700 metres wide. We're going to go and check it out. From the small bay of Katsakas down here, where the sailing boats come and anchor and spend the night because they're protected from the northwest winds, you can walk up this track up to where a couple of churches are. I think it's Agia Pelagia and the Church of the Ascension or something like that anyway. There were 5 people living on this island at one stage, and the final person that was here on his own looking after the goats only passed away a couple of years ago. But what's special is on the other side, the beach of Salida, fine sand, awesome. I'll need it.
As these smaller islands are being abandoned, Hollywood stars and other wealthy people are swooping in and buying them. It turns a once publicly accessible piece of paradise with its history and capacity for production into a private oasis. One day, that may well happen to Samiopoula.
In summer, you can take a boat, a kaiki, from Pythagorio and Samos. It's called the Agia Arini, and it brings you here to Samiopoula. Walk up the hill and come to this taverna, and they'll feed you here, and then you go for a swim afterwards. I want to meet Captain Yanni. Apparently he's a bit of a widow. You can hear him from here.
After meeting this Captain Yanni, I can tell you that there is no one else on the planet like him. This guy has no filters. His rawness can be both intimidating and cringeworthy. There's no smoke or mirrors, something you rarely see in this world.
And you bring him from Pythagorio every day, different people every day?
I come from Pythagorio with my boat every day, and I do this work 45 years.
45 years?
I like what I do and I do it
Yeah.
the way I do it and people like it.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
And I see you like an ouzo too. You like ouzo, eh?
If you don't like it, what are you doing? I am a family friend from the past people. And now I have the island I took over
Yep.
to take care of the island because when the elderly people were here, I was helping them to build up these places in 50s, 60s.
Yes.
When they died, this place started to fall down.
Yes.
apart.
Yeah.
And I feel very bad and very sorry, so I decided to rent it from their grandchildren
Right.
because they didn't want it to be here.
Right.
So I'm very proud that I keep the place on.
You're doing a good job. I tell you, I watch these people, they're very, very happy.
Yeah.
But tell me, all these Hollywood stars that are buying all the Greek islands, all the small Greek islands, they might come here and buy this island. What do you think?
There is a game about this island,
Yeah?
but nobody will step here before I'm dead.
Is that right? No chance. No chance.
If the ouzo and scenery doesn't put a smile on your face, then the antics of Captain Yanni certainly will. He's quite the showman, but what you see is the real deal and makes for a great holiday memory.
Wow, what a reward here at the end. Nice, fine, sandy beach. This island of Samyopula, this tiny little dot in the Aegean has everything to offer. You come up through a bay, nice walk to the top, a couple of churches, have a good feed, a bit of entertainment, then walk back down, have a swim. It doesn't get any better.
What a place, eh? It took me a few years to make it here, and now I know what I was missing out on all that time. I'll definitely be back.
There's not much that I can say, other than the colours of green and blue are probably the most relaxing colours of the spectrum. And when you just sit here with this light breeze, looking out at green and blue from a height, it's almost like you're meditating life and re-energising. It's beautiful here.
Looking out at Samos, I couldn't help but think of the vast difference between these two islands. It's those variations that make travelling through Greece so much fun. I was really looking forward to rediscovering Samos again. My wife and I first visited 27 years ago, and every time we're back here, we always find new things and relive a few of the old, which is exactly what I plan on doing in the next episode. I'll be taking you to some of my favourite haunts that capture the essence of Samos and unearthing a few new things. There's always something fresh to be seen or experienced, and like all of Greece, the fascinating history, rich culture and awesome food complete the picture. I'll be showing you exactly why I keep coming back to Samos every few years. But now having discovered Samyopula, I might have to add another regular stopover onto the list. It would be awesome to catch up with Captain Yanni and see if he maintains that same vigour over the years. Something tells me he's never going to slow down.